The rayon I've done a little bit on, but not much. I'm gonna pick my spot, and I'm gonna do a couple of spots here and there because there are different kinds of hair and different kinds of mat. This is Cowboy Magic, and it kind of lubricates the guard hairs so that you can work mats out easier and it doesn't hurt. And I use a 2-row rake, and they're offset, so they're not the same on both sides, and that helps. And that's what I use for here, and I will usually pick up and work in small areas. Get the hair off. If you just brush, you're not going to get it off, so you got to go against the grain. Pull it up against the grain and then pull a little bit. You can do this, just loosen stuff, but I find this works better. If you find a big mat, let's see if I can find one on here. Oh, here's one. You can use this thing. And the way I do that, there's a good one, is you kind of hold it on an angle. Don't put your thumb there even though it has that there, and you want to work down, you want to find a spot close to the skin. So here's a mat, and I'm going to do this. And this is the motion. It's kind of like teasing, but the opposite direction. And then you can use the teeth to spread it. Like Jari, he's a wimp. And if you can get your fingers back here on the guard hairs so you can hold it, once you get it away from the skin a bit, you can rip them out and they really can't feel that. But getting it there, they might not like it. But so that's how you would deal with these mats. Now, his legs are bad. Probably, Heidi, your dog's legs aren't this bad. I try not to use scissors on them. So, look, Cowboy Magic. I usually start with the rake, and I love this one that's got the holes because you can put your fingers in there. But I'll start here and go down, getting these teeny tiny little stuck pieces off. And then here, I'll come this side and then this side. And if it's stuck like that, if you can tolerate it, I'll use this. If you can't tolerate it, I'll go back to this. And again, you got to be close to the skin. You know, get in close to the skin and then hold the mat and kind of tease. Can you lay down? Let's get you to lay down so I can. Thank you. So there's a mat. I'm going to get in and tease it out. Now if you get something that's really bad, you can't help it with scissors without cutting it off. You can make a little hole and cut through just the mat. Not cutting it off, just cut through it and make it smaller, and then you'll get that. And then you won't have weird holes where they don't have any hair. I just want to get just a little bit more so you can see that it really will come out as bad as it looks. So you'll end up with a nice little fluff there once you get it all done. And I hope your dog isn't this bad. Being a farm dog and a working dog and not being done in the spring like you should have been done, mine's bad. So there's your little section that is done, so you can see that it really does work. Alright, let's deal with tender stuff. So, a lot of times they'll have mats under their armpits. Let's see if he's got one. So these, I'm not going to yank on. Nobody can see that you cut them off. So I'm going to cut that one off just to show you how I do it. Let me get one that's down deep because I really don't want it to look like it's been cut off. But if you can get close to the skin and work your scissors in and just come as far away from the skin as you can to cut, make sure you don't get any skin. So I might do that. Sorry, did I get you? You're such a good boy. There. And then, wait. Here, I'm not going to yank those off on him. That's going to hurt. Nobody can see it. So, I'm just going to cut those off. He's not my tolerant dog. That's why he looks so bad. And I'm pulling little tiny hairs. I'm not really cutting him. He just is a wimp. Can you lay down? Thank you. Let me see. Stay real still. I just want to get one mat. Just one. And if you got somebody that can hold your dog for you, that's great. You're a good boy. And sometimes you can trick them by petting them. But I'm just cutting the little hairs that are keeping these down on him. Like I said, this isn't worth it to me to pull on these tender spots when nobody can see that you cut them off. Because most of it's going to pull out, even if you tried. Not going to be much hair left here. It's a good mat. So I'll cut them off. Alright. This part. You can use some cowboy magic if you... I'm just going to go right at it. Sideways and out, both sides. Again, if you need the other tool, you can use that too. That one I'll show you where it really comes in handy. I always put my hand over these dew claws so that they don't get it. There's a pretty good sized mat, so I'm going to show you again how I cut through that just to make it a smaller mat, but I'm not going to cut it off. I'm going to get close to the skin, work the scissors in, and cut down. Hey, I'm not hurting you. I'm not hurting you. I want to cut down the center of that mat. Best I can. Make it a half a mat. And then you can work it out. You can use that little tool. And again, you're going to do the reverse teasing method if you can. If it slips through, spread it out so you can get inside that mat and actually do something with it. And then sometimes it'll get to a point where you can just yank it with your fingers. And I brush them till they don't have a single mat left on them, and the brush goes through without any catching on anything, any resistance. But I think that gives you a good idea. And you get a heck of a lot of hair out of a little spot. And I usually will clean up their feet too. I'll pull the hair up that's between their toes, and sometimes they're matted. Nobody see that either because it's between the toes. And then I'll clean up around the outside and just round everything up. Now my dog, this one, tends to get mats between his toes, so I'm going to check. He really doesn't have too many. Oh, there's one. See, that's a great big mat right between his toes. So I'm going to cut that off. First I'm going to get rid of this part here so I can see what I'm doing. This is a huge mat and it's right between his toes. So you know that's uncomfortable. So you got to be really careful in here because the skin goes every which direction. So you want to really feel, make sure that you're not cutting skin. And some dogs really hate this. I think he has learned that this makes his foot feel so much better. I'm going to work it till I can get it. Come away from him a bit. That's a pretty nasty mat to be between the toes. And you can trim all this hair up between your toes. You can use clippers in this area if your dog will let you. There's some more mats. I've never used clippers on these guys, so I don't know how they act. And you can clean it all the way around it if you want to. However neatness you want on your dog's foot, I tend to trim around dew claws. And when I'm done grooming, I will trim his nails too. But I just makes it just much easier if there's no mats around the dew claws to trim. But you can clean that up as much as you want. You can leave as much as you want. I tend to just do dew claw area and down to the toenails, not above. Well, that gives you an idea of that part. I'm going to move down here. You can move wherever it's good for you, Martina. Look at different areas. So this area, and I would use some Cowboy Magic. He's got a little bit on him from when I started him the other day. So you could do it this way, or you can use this. And this is when I'm going to put my thumb on there. Because what I'm doing is I'm just working the hair down, and I'm holding. So we're just moving all of that loose hair down to the ends. And then I'm going to hold it so I'm not pulling on his hair. And I'm going to put some tension on there so I can rip it out. I get to a point where the bigger brush works better than I use that. That gives you an idea on this back stuff. There's a nice, beautiful mat. So this, get it to move, and you can use the teeth, put it in there, and you can separate, make it smaller, so that you can do more. And I got a little bit of tension on this. I might separate it. That's all loose hair. That's not even really. So you're going to take big pieces off like this. And like I said, if you wanted to use scissors to split this, you could, but this is pretty soft. It's going to come out without cutting it out. Spread. Comes out. And it seems like they're losing a lot of hair, but that is all hair that really isn't connected to anything. It's just stuck there. And if it was connected to something, it still looks better pulling it out than it does cutting it out and leaving a big hole. So I go back and forth between my different tools. What I'm going to use, that's a huge mat, and I'm going to tease it out. Some spreading. Tail. His tail is horrible. We'll move to a different spot. It is horrible. It's getting some conditioner. And I go both directions, so I really get this stuff worked in there. Any mats I'm going to do